It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's a podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artists and piercer talk about some of the more common questions you may have as someone who collects piercings and tattoos.
Or wants to.
Or thinking about it, or what have you. Brought to you in part by Skin Kitchen Tattoo, the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, and Duff Before Decaf. Usual crew today, the Rack Pack, the familiars.
Mm-hmm. I am Jack Rat.
I'm Wesley.
Captain of this pirate ship.
This is Westley Rat.
This is the first mate.
The Jimmy Rat.
I'm the DaVo.
And that leaves the DaVo Rat.
Piercer, tattooist.
Say that 3 times fast backwards.
Pirates.
And if you can't do it, take a drink. Arr. So what we're going to talk about today is how your relationships with clients affect you in the long term.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We tend to get these clients sometimes that come in like, oh, you can get multiple piercings. So maybe you're kind of like, or get tattooed in you guys' cases. Mm-hmm. How that interaction goes.
Yeah.
Seeing them later, because they kind of drop off the planet.
Sometimes.
Yep. They really can, yeah. So I'll start off with what kind of, when we were thinking about what to talk about, this kind of spawned it. Last night was our Friday at Skin Kitchen, so we usually try to at least hang out a little bit at the shop or go out and, and all that stuff as a shop, as a family. So we went to a place around the corner, and we went up on the top deck little thing to have a drink, and the bartender up there she didn't look real familiar necessarily, but she had
so funny.
She had a tattoo on her neck, and I'm like, man, that looks really, really familiar, but I would have done that tattoo a long time ago.
You were in bird dog mode. It was so funny.
But man, I just kept looking at it, and she was, moving around a lot and all that. So pretty soon I asked her who did it, and she says, some guy at Skin Kitchen. And she said it kind of like dismissively, like, meh.
I don't remember. One of those tattoo dudes.
And, the more I thought about it, I should have, asked her more about it without her knowing who I was.
Well, you did.
Really, no, I didn't.
A little bit.
No, I let her off the hook. I said, so I go, you had an earring that you were wearing. It cast a shadow on your neck, and that gave you the idea. I didn't go that far into it, but that's.
But you said
I
that.
remember that
you
much
said that.
of it.
You told her that.
Yeah, and she goes, yeah, how did you know that? And
well, she was still blowing it off until that point.
Right. She was kind of like, oh, yeah, it's somebody just got my neck tattoo again.
Which is probably
some
tattoo
guy.
And it's usually the pickup line.
Right.
Yeah, she was attractive
and she was a
bartender.
really pretty gal and everything, of course. So, I get it. She was just kind of a little bit like, meh. But anyway, so after I said that, she goes, yeah, how did you know? And I go, because I did your tattoo, silly. She goes, oh, wow.
You could have bought her for $1.
Mm-hmm. She's like, oh,
at that
man.
moment, it was priceless.
So she's scurrying around, and pretty soon she comes back behind the bar, and I go, I've thought about you a lot over the years.
Yeah.
And she goes, what, really?
Yeah, not to be creepy.
Yeah, and I was like, well, because you were like, and she goes, I was like 19 when I came in. I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I go,
16 years ago, you said?
Yeah, 16 years ago. And it was her first tattoo.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, it's a pretty large tattoo.
Yeah.
And it takes up a large portion of her neck. It's kind of like a doily-ish kind of little.
It's like a mandala crosses kind of thing. Yeah.
So anyway, normally I would have probably just talked her out of it straight up and not even done it. But she came in with a current client that I'd been doing a lot of heavy work on and sleeves and everything.
Heavily tattooed.
And she was just a real beautiful younger gal too. So I thought, well, okay, she's it's not like she's just coming in not knowing anything about tattooing at all. She's friends with a good client of mine and stuff. So I thought, you know what, she's okay, So I did it, but it always stuck in my mind.
Kind of haunts you.
Exactly that, really.
Yeah.
I guess when you put it that way, it really did. It was one of those things I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I hope I didn't cause her some problems.
I don't know if I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And
we
so
often have that.
So through the, it would just kind of come up in my mind, and now here she is.
16 years it went.
Yeah.
And then here you are with her face to face.
And I'm like, wow, now I get to know.
But her reaction was worth, dude, I'm so happy that I was there.
Yeah.
Like the look on her face, her reaction, the way you reacted, because like it was a weight off your shoulders.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When she looked at you and was like, I want you to tell you, I have no regrets. I love this tattoo.
Right.
It's helped define
Who I
am. And, it was just really like, how rewarding, thank God.
Yeah, I told Jimmy, I'm like, I feel like I'm going through like this, you're getting ready to die process. So you're getting all these things that were on your shoulders throughout your life kind of weighing you down or getting lifted before your spirit is set free or something.
Yeah.
It was kind of a creepy moment, and not creepy, but just like, wow,
Well,
this is
anything
really
that could be
happening. I feel like it's like
anything
I
that could
get
be a
the
mark on your
answer-
record. Yeah.
I get the answer to a question that I never thought in a million years I would ever get.
Is this a mark on my record I can never find out about or confirm?
It would
or
always
whatever?
haunt me, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, she was closing the bar down pretty quickly after that, and so she was going to move down to the lower bar, and she would service our food and finish up, and which she did, and then she went and hung out with a friend of hers at the end of the bar, and we ate our food and hung out a bit. And right before she was going to leave, she was leaving, she came over to the bar, and I just figured she was going to say goodbye and nice to see you, which she did, but she was like, I want to talk to you. She goes, I've been thinking about it. And I was like, oh,
Great.
Yep.
because just like me and the guys, she probably had a beer or two sitting there, and she's probably feeling a little more honest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man.
The politeness is gone.
Like, I deserve it.
Yep.
I deserve it.
Here we go.
Bring it on. She goes, I want you to know that I love my tattoo, and there hasn't been not 1 second of my life I ever regretted it. It's more so defined who I am. It, kind of defined who I, wanted to be at the time, a change I was
kind
going
of
through.
affirmation.
Right, and all that stuff. And I just don't want you to ever have a negative thought about, me regretting it or anything else. Put it to bed. I love it, and I'm so glad I got it. And, man, talk about just...
It was worth $1 million, man. That moment.
I really never thought that I'd ever be able to...
How
to do
rewarding.
that.
Vindication.
It felt really
Good
nice.
word.
In a way, but it really kind of made me feel good. That doesn't necessarily mean like what I did was the right thing, but at least in that instance, it worked out good.
At least it worked out.
And now you have closure.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
it's nice to know that, like, even though you've warned these people, like, that's what they don't understand, man. Like, not only for you, like, we remember, like, I don't remember your name if I just did a name on you or something quick or little. Like, I might not remember your name, but I remember your face.
Yeah.
I remember the tattoo. And, like, that was a moment in my life where, like, I shared time with you.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
as intimate as I can be with a stranger
Right.
is to tattoo you.
Yeah.
And, talk to you about things that are, like, on my mind or my person, my personal life.
Yeah.
And you're sharing that with people. And, like, that goes back to picking your artists. You don't want to pick, like, you could be the greatest tattoo artist in the world. But if you got the, like, personality of a rock,
right.
I don't want to sit there for 6 hours and, like, watch my
Well,
YouTube and not talk to you or like, interact with you.
Well, some people will, but make sure
that's
that
okay.
that not only your artist is doing the type of work that you think you're going to want, but that you build a relationship with that person because you're
Right.
coming with a project together and you're both have to work together. And sometimes people just for whatever reason don't work good together. They just don't click.
But we're participating in changing your life.
Yeah.
How you?
Yeah.
So we take it
One of the
serious.
most important things, how you perceive yourself.
And how the world perceives you.
But like a lot of people, like, who cares what other people think of me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like when you get out of that shower and it's just you in the bathroom and your music or whatever, and you pull that curtain back and you look over in that mirror, and you're like, not happy, or you're happy with whatever you see or whatever it is about you, your stomach, your face, your beard, your hair, whatever it is. When we add that tattoo to you, that's something that gave you, like, when you whip that shower curtain back, you're like,
Dig it.
yeah, man, that makes me look cooler. I sat for that. The
You
guy
earned it.
helped me get through it. We earned it. Like, he made me feel like I earned it. He supported me, like, whatever. Like,
I look
that's,
at it-
you build a relationship with these people. And some artists that customers that I've tattooed, like, repetitively,
Yeah.
I can call them friends.
Yeah, well, sure,
you
definitely.
know what I mean?
I've
Like-
made so many great friends out of
Absolutely.
clients. So many good
What other job
people.
can you say that?
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to think that a lot of people could say that.
Well, the
you
guy
know,
at Walmart
but
ain't making
I
buddies
want to
every
know
day.
if
That's
DaVo
true.
gets the same thing.
Well, it's different because they're not usually with me as long.
But it is pretty intimate.
Probably the most impactful friendship I've ever had. Well, two of them I could talk about. Paul Gray was the first lip piercing I did in Des Moines.
Wow.
And we sat there, and I was playing. I don't even remember what was playing. And it was an older punk rock band. He's from Los Angeles. It was an old LA band like the Circle Jerks. Awesome. We clicked immediately on a music level. So we were sitting there talking for the whole time, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I met this new guy, and he's into the same stuff I'm into and everything else. And then he tells me he's moving back to California.
Damn it.
And that would have been the end of the story if, Slipknot hadn't happened. And what happened through that, I mean, that was kind of the catalyst for, the Have-Nots. That was the catalyst for, in a large part, the Axiom and the involvement we had with the music scene and Slipknot and everything else. It was a catalyst for me booking bands. And he was just one of those guys. He was like a great cheerleader. Like, every time I'd be sitting there going, yeah, I'm so sick of doing this, and I hate these people. And he'd be like, oh, come on, DaVo. Come on. Just do it. Sadly, he was the same way when it came to alcohol. But
so many carbons.
and various other things. I have many hangovers I could blame specifically on him. The other person is my kid's mom. Even though we didn't work out as a couple, we produce a very incredible individual.
He's pretty
that I'm very proud of.
He's a neat man.
And
awesome.
She was a client. She kept coming in. She kept bringing people in. And I knew she had a crush on me. I just didn't do anything about it because I was in DaVo piercing artist phase, So, yeah, those are very important relationships that build out of that. Also, lots of other people in the music scene throughout the years and just people I hang out with.
Yeah.
The other thing is that piercing can go one of two ways, and a lot of it comes down to the motivation of the person getting it done, what they're going through in their life. I mean, I've had very, very deep conversations with people that are like going through a serious breakup, or they lost a child, or they just recovered from cancer, and we'll start talking about like their motivation behind getting pierced, and then it brings up all this other stuff, and before we know it, we've shared intimate details with one another that we don't share with normal people. And there's like that bond and that connection that ends with that piercing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really crazy how people will open up, and what kind of relationships you can really build with a person when you're sitting there for a while. And I've got clients that have been coming to me for
years. They bring their
20,
kids
almost
to you
20
now.
years.
It's almost shaman-like.
I love that.
Yeah, man. I've tattooed my customers' kids.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
And it's such an honor.
Oh, I know. I feel
such an honor.
It's surreal and flattering.
I'm so proud to be like included, as a part of their family, so to speak, or part of their.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Is,
it's almost like you're their family tattooer
physician or something.
Yeah,
you're
the
the
family
weird
tattooer.
uncle.
Yeah, and I've got families like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say names. You guys know who you are. Your whole freaking family comes in.
Yeah, we love every one of you.
I love it. I kind of feel like a little part of the family. I joke around with some of my real friend clients, about, hey, they're going somewhere tropical or something. I'm like, you're gonna need your tattoo guy there. I mean, you don't want to just stumble into some shop, in Barbados.
Man. Yeah,
you gotta take your guy, and
so
we're really, really, really lucky in that. 99% of the time, it's we make at least we're not, I wouldn't, friends, but you make these friendly interactions.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know these people, and then the people that come in and spend some more time. It's just you can't help but to create a good relationship.
And that's why I don't understand people that like with piercing, especially because piercing has a much higher, I think, burnout rate than tattooing does.
Unfortunately.
And these people that burn out, they're like, I'm just sick of doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, I don't do the same thing over and over again. The body's type changes every day.
Every person's
I never do
different.
the same pattern of piercings. There might be periods of time where I'll do a bunch of nostrils or whatever. But the person that comes in, I learn stuff from them.
If you do
I get a little bit into their life, and maybe it's intrusive at times. But it's part of my method of loosening them up and making them feel better
If you
about
did
the series.
10 belly buttons in a day,
Yeah.
Every anatomy is different, and every
yes.
customer has a different reason or part in their life that they're doing it. Or you know what I mean? It's
when
all
you're
different.
in a good mood with your clients because you get very loud
Yeah.
and we can hear you.
It's awesome.
You're
I love
very
it.
enthusiastic.
I love it.
And you get to interact with people you normally would not interact with, like
Right.
doctors, lawyers, attorneys, people
People
work
that you
in
never
nursing,
speak to.
people I've dealt with criminals and talked about that and everything
Right.
else. So
Yeah.
it's like
There's two walks of life that will let you know who they or what they've done
Yes.
more than anybody else, and that's someone who's been to prison and a chick who's a stripper.
Yep.
You will know within 10 seconds
Yeah, they're
either
gonna share it
one
with
if they've
you.
been to prison or they're a stripper.
They're
'cause-
it's
Sure.
almost like they're
But
when
it's like
somebody
what-
gets busted for gets on the sex registry, they're supposed to go around the entire neighborhood.
Right.
I've noticed
they're
that with those
degenerates,
two
blah, blah,
types of
blah.
people.
I
That's the
totally-
first thing it's like. And I just had a lady that did that recently. I'm just like, I don't care what you do for a
Okay.
living.
But you know what I
Yeah.
love about
Neat.
tattooing and piercing is no matter if it's a cop that comes in to get tattooed, an FBI agent,
Yeah.
the head of the biggest criminal family in town.
They all bleed the same.
Well, once you get them in that chair, and it doesn't matter what you do for a living, it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what God you praise, it doesn't matter any of that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you like chicks, dudes, both, but it doesn't matter. We're all on an equal playing field.
Right.
When I start sticking them needles in you,
Yeah.
it's
It's
either
gonna hurt.
compassionate, it's that compassionate
Yeah.
care for your fellow person,
Yeah.
and and use that to get through it,
Yeah.
or fight it and be miserable. But we're equal. There,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? All
Yeah,
that, all
it
that
brings
crap
you to
goes
reality.
out the window.
Yeah,
and that's,
sure.
I think, that's why we laugh a lot of times at these riots and this crazy stuff going on, because we're just we're used to everybody being equal all the time. We
Yeah, I
we
guess
don't
so.
quite understand how somebody can recognize such a difference in another person. It doesn't.
It's a waste
We're
of time.
we're so weird already.
I guess so.
You know what I mean? We're used to it, so we're not.
I'm not
we're not so
used-
judgmental about people, dude. It it really it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I've
I pride
experienced-
myself on that.
I've experienced prejudice my entire life.
Well, yeah,
as
I
soon as
mean-
I started altering myself,
Absolutely.
with hair and everything else. So
Yeah.
to me, it's always been there's no difference between you and me,
No.
except how much we make.
That
Exactly.
and I don't care that you're not tattooed and pierced.
And I
No,
don't.
I could give
I'm
a
a
crap.
rat's ass, and I'm not
You know
going
what?
to talk
If you're
you
not-
into it.
If you're not pierced and tattooed today, you're actually more interesting because you're so
Yeah,
much
you're
more
the
rare.
You're the raw. Yeah, you're the.
Well, that's
odd
a
one.
little bit
It's
of a
the
theory
opposite
that
of
I
what
have.
we were.
Yeah.
We got
Um,
a guy at the bar last night. We met
Yeah.
with Jules' friend. Who
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he's like 30 years old, bike riding, motorcycle kind of guy. And
I almost
no
felt like-
tattoo on him.
tattoos. And
I
we're
almost-
kudos to you, man.
I
for
almost
being-
felt like snatching him up.
I know.
A man with no tattoos at all.
That
Like,
rides motorcycles.
Get him.
Yeah,
I want him.
yeah. It's like a
But yeah.
collectible item.
Right.
It's
It's like
like-
a clean canvas. What?
It's like the killers are quiet thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and I learned this because one of the places that we could always drink underage was African American bars.
Oh
They
yeah.
didn't card anybody.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
And so I
Thank you
got
very much.
exposed to kind of the
That's awesome.
underworld of criminal activities in Des Moines because most of them were in very terrible neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And the thing I learned very quick is the guy that was yelling and screaming at everybody and talking about his toughness and everything else. Yeah,
Weakest
worry
guy.
about that guy. The guy you had to worry about was the guy in the back
Yeah.
That hasn't said
that
a
didn't
word.
say a word
Because he's confident.
and could nod and things happen.
Right.
And in the punk rock version of that is like the guy with the mohawk and the bright green hair and the
Oh, sure.
50,000 spikes and everything. That's going to be the least interesting person in the entire room. Now the
He's
guy
trying
that's
so
there,
hard.
yeah, the guy that's there that's like got a pair of Vans on and a t-shirt,
give a crap.
and, a hoodie maybe. That's the guy that is going to go out and take a baseball bat to every window out front.
Yeah, he's gonna.
You know,
punk rock at
he's the one
hardest.
that's a little off.
He's out there.
Usually.
And I often wonder if it's because all of that expression of weirdness gets all of that anger and frustration out of you.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
I guess
not-
we'd have to ask him. Please write in to the show, P.O. Box 666,
And let us know your cell number, and we will send it back a
Yeah.
copy.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Just kidding.
But no, it's fun getting to know the clients and decorating their bodies with them and for them, and hearing their stories, being a part of their families, and
It's a large responsibility altering somebody's, you're putting a memory of somebody that's passed on, or
Yeah.
you're helping them get over something,
Yeah.
or you're changing something about they're not happy with their body.
it's wild. I think about I have a
very
commute
honoring.
to work. It's roughly an hour, and so I have a lot of time to think, going to and from, and
especially on a motorcycle.
Well, you're not just listening to our podcast over and over again?
Sometimes.
no.
He does
But
do that.
it's funny. I get like a literal smile on my face, thinking like, "Man, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
Like going to work, really?
Yeah, like most people are like,
No,
I got to
not.
go to work. I'll be there for 9 hours at the
I
factory.
feel
I'm
guilty
like, I'm going to the
calling it
tattoo
work.
shop to hang out. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I tell my wife.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, going to the shop. I'm going to hang out for like 9 hours. I'll see you later.
Yeah,
it's like strippers going to work.
very, very lucky.
Well, I
very
mean,
Do
lucky.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yes, your job is hard and demanding.
But
You're going to the club to listen to music, to dance, and play video games, and
right,
con people
hang
out
out
of
with
money.
your girlfriends.
yeah, and hang out with your
Naked
girlfriends.
beggars.
I'm going to draw on people with my buddies all day and dick around. Like,
Did you just compare us to strippers?
no,
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
kinda.
No, directly.
Yeah, kind of. Well,
Which
whatever.
is okay. I mean, strippers are.
I've been
people
on summer
too.
vacation for 20 years, man. Like, I mean, this is the
Right,
best thing
yeah.
ever. It
Oh, I've
beats
been
the
living a
shit out of
7-day
work.
Basically, what we're
weekend
saying is,
since
thank you,
1994.
Yeah, thank you to all the people who have
Yeah.
let me tattoo them and that will futurely let me tattoo them.
We don't take you for granted here.
Not
I
at
think
all.
at the end of the day, really, I've
Even
been,
if you catch us on a
there's-
bad day.
There's been times in my career where I've been sitting there waiting for the door to open.
Absolutely.
And I'll never forget it. So,
Absolutely.
every appointment on my calendar, I'm grateful for it.
Right.
I feel like the luckiest guy ever.
Yes,
Okay,
me too.
so do you guys ever get the feeling like at the end of a big project, like you've spent, I mean, obviously, with the piercing side of it, I maybe spent 5-6 hours with them if they've done like a large grouping or something. But you guys, it's like
There's a little bit of
20,
anxiety.
30 hours in some cases, maybe more. And then it ends, and then you never see the guy for
I get sad a little
or
bit.
gal.
Yeah, I have a little bit of
Sober.
anxiety about it.
It sucks. It is weird, yeah. And it usually dawns on you like as they're just out of your sight, you're like, oh.
I might never see or not see him for like
You-
years.
You mean
You make a
we're-
realization that your friends.
You were just using
Yeah.
me?
I
No.
saw you every day for 3 weeks for
was-
like 4 hours a day
Yeah.
Yep.
for
It
like
is.
2 months,
It
and
is
now
weird.
I don't see you.
So go back
anymore.
and visit your tattoo artist and piercer. And
We
just
would
say
love.
hello.
You know what?
Once
I like to
COVID's
stay
over.
in touch
You
with
might
my
want to edit this
customers,
out, but a lot of times,
even if it's Facebook.
if it's like a nice big tattoo that we worked hard on and it's been a long time, and if I see it, I'll probably.
I want to touch
If
it up
it
a little
needs,
bit and
if it
make
needs
it look
some work,
bam. Yeah,
I
like,
might talk you back in the chair and let's
Yep.
like, man, let's
Yep.
woo. But
Yeah.
anyway, no, it is really nice for us to see work that we did, years
Absolutely.
down the
It's
road.
very rewarding.
It's because we don't know.
And just
You know?
catch up with these.
Yeah,
it's
a
a
lot of
mystery.
time, 90 plus of the stuff we do, we never get to see it again.
It's only
you
the
know,
sleeves and the leg pieces, the big
Yeah.
pieces
Yeah,
that come
that-
back for the second
Yeah.
session.
Then we can
that
see.
Yeah.
verify for me that what
Yeah.
I do actually
yeah,
still
it's
working.
exists.
Yeah,
Right.
So don't be shy.
I have
Other
a
people, when I
question.
see them out and like they'll be like, "Oh, you tattooed me 15 years ago." I'm like, "Oh, great. What did I do on you?" "Oh,
Yeah.
you did like this name of my kids and the dates." And I'm like, "Okay, it wasn't super memorable." But, you know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah.
But
I'm
like,
glad I know I'm
bam,
doing
I
it.
nailed it because it's still there.
Right?
Yes.
It didn't fall off.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Do
And
you
you're
ever have
still
that
happy with
reaction?
it.
Like,
Yeah.
congratulations, it's still there.
Yeah,
well,
I
I
used
do
to-
say, well, I must have done it right. It's
All
still
that
there.
permanency
Yeah.
we talk about, we're
It's questionable
it's
for us
questionable until we see it.
Yeah,
the
I
only
mean-
reason we know it stays is because we have it too. But
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and
These guys
often-
made it stick.
but until we
Right.
see you again, like I hope that piece stuck
And for a
there.
long time,
Everyone.
for a long time. That's why when everybody showed me a tattoo, I'm like, yeah, it's a tattoo.
You know what I'd assume if it
That
fell
doesn't
off,
matter.
you'd
It's
freaking hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely, for
Me
sure.
too.
But yeah.
But it's always
that-
a confirmation.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is you generally, if you're not positive on things and you're not, in your head you can easily get in the wrong place because the only things you see coming back are the mistakes.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
it can be.
it messes
And
with
it
you.
Oh, and that's
really
devastating.
messes with you.
Well, and
Right.
that goes along with the relationship you have. I mean, there's a negative side too. I mean, we're invested in the tattoo you're doing, and we take it seriously. We want to do our best job. So if there's a negative vibe coming from the customer side,
I feel responsible.
it's huge.
Right.
It really, it really affects the whole
Yeah.
energy of
Full-on-
everything.
It's a full-on gut
Right.
punch.
And I think that's a big reason. And I don't think we really have to try, but the energy here is good.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
But-
if one of us is a little off, the other one, pokes them in the butthole with their thumb or something, and
We know how to lift
Don't do
each
that
other.
to me.
yeah, and because that's the kind of energy you need. You need that
Yes.
good, positive,
Yeah.
flowy go energy. And when you have like a dark cloud come in and it's just kind of this overbearing darkness.
Well, 2 of you had a bad morning, but the third one had a great morning. He needs to pump his brothers up.
Right. Well, but customer-wise, when
Yeah,
you
even
have if you have a
customers.
customer come in and they're this that's just
You gotta pull 'em out of
negative
it.
kind of person, it can
Yeah.
you know, it can really throw things off and kind of make you feel like, oh, okay,
I've done
I'll
killer
just-
tattoos on people,
Yeah.
It takes the energy
and they
out of me.
were great customers.
yeah.
But whether they're just super comfortable with me or how they, you know, their emotions or whatever, they get up and they look at that tattoo in the mirror and they're like, oh yeah, that'll do. And it's like,
Oh, I hate
I have
that.
that with one of my clients right
that'll
now.
do.
He'll
I just
that-
spent 12 hours
Yeah,
on that.
it's
What do you
over.
mean
Yeah.
that'll do? And
That'll
it's
do.
permanent.
Yeah.
What don't you like?
Like I
Oh,
said-
nothing. I love
No,
everything
I
about
love it. I love it,
Yeah,
dude. It's
well-
it's perfect.
Well,
Like-
don't look at it like you just picked the paper up off the
Yep.
porch and was like, oh, cool, another like Beetle Bailey.
Right, I know.
crap.
So
It rips my
deflating.
brain out.
Yeah, 'cause I'm freaking.
Or when you spend all, I mean, there, you know, I love to do little detailed work and really get into the little stuff. And you know, and I'll,
wondering if they
I'll get
notice.
it. No. I'll get in. You know, I'll do a piece where, man, I'm just in there and I'm fidgeting with every little shadow and line and every little highlight off the eyelash and all that stuff. And then I'm like, all right, go check it out. And they'll stand like from here to the wall and go, yeah, man, cool. And literally, yeah, man, cool. And I'm like,
Just glance, yeah.
If you can fake an orgasm, you can fake the appreciation.
it blows
I mean,
me away.
It's
I'm like,
it's not
well,
deflating.
I wish I would have
It's like,
known they were
man.
expecting way less because that could have gone
Right.
way faster.
Well,
You know, like, you want them to get up there with a microscope and look at it and be like,
Kinda.
look at that highlight in that eyeball and that
Right.
dude in the
But
But
crowd.
see, that's part of the fun
Yeah.
of getting tattooed is over the next 6 months you're going to
Finding all that and going, wow.
Well, and a lot of
Yeah.
times those people will come back. Like the next time they get
Well-
to it, they're like, dude.
And
So I
there's
went
a-
home and been staring at this and
Right.
oh, how did you put that little sparkle in his tooth back
And
there?
on a
Like,
and on a large piece, there is, you know, you do get atrophy, just brain and body
Well,
atrophy
yeah.
from getting tattooed, and you're not all the way there. You know, there's a good chance you've been sitting there. You haven't
wore out.
you haven't drank much water. You probably haven't eaten.
Yeah.
You know, and you're exhausted. So you're not, you know, you're just glad it's done and going, yeah, it's.
Yeah, you just
awesome.
ran the
Thanks.
Iron Man,
That's
dude.
great.
So I
Stop
get that
touching
part,
me.
Yeah.
but that's not always the case. And there are those cases where you know you get done, and you're like, man, I'm gonna break my arm, but I don't care. I'm gonna pat myself on the
when
back.
he
That's
looks at
awesome.
this in the mirror, he's going to
And-
lose his mind.
And they look at it
And
from
they're
10
like,
feet
"Oh,
away,
it'll
like
do."
for half a second. It does happen. I mean, but hey, tattoos are different for different people,
Right, right.
and
Absolutely.
they mean different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And as long as we did our best and we're happy with it,
Absolutely. I mean, nothing negative by it. I'm just,
So
that's
back-
just
yeah,
I think it's
know.
funny.
right?
So back to your story kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a peer or tattoo and you're just like, this is just going to totally negatively affect this person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then
and
worried
they
about it
usually know it
later.
too. They usually know it. I mean, there's been times where they know it's going to, and that's maybe the reason. Hence the large penis outline I did on the
Kinda
dude's
like-
forearm because he lost a bet or wanted to win a
Kind of a
bet.
self-destructiveness.
Yeah,
kind of thing?
it was a band. You know bands. Anyway,
Yeah.
so but
I'm going to need a dildo with some anal beads and some lube splashing around. I'm sorry.
I don't care about your weekends in Vegas.
did you say
Okay.
anal beads?
Yeah, I
Did
did.
we say anal beads?
I don't know. But I did a
Anyway.
leg
I don't know.
sleeve
Have
of
you
that on
seen
somebody,
that?
so anyway.
Okay, this is completely off subject. Have you seen the WAP videos?
I don't know.
It's a rap. It's female, and it is one of the most
Women-
filthiest songs I've ever heard.
No, sir, I've not seen it.
And I grew up in punk rock, boys and girls.
What's it? What's
do with
WAP?
this?
What's W? Women at?
Wet ass.
What? That's a band?
I've
That's
heard
the
of this.
name of the song.
No, that's the name of the song. I've heard of this. I haven't heard it yet. But
This
like,
video is trending and has been trending on YouTube for some time.
Maybe we should
and
do a
is
reaction.
completely monetized. If I use the word
Any of
penis
those.
sometimes, I will immediately get the video will be demonetized.
in an educational stance.
And the whole thing they're going through is they're saying
I think
that
we should have a
it's
reaction video to
because-
this video.
Is because
YouTube, like
because
what?
Vote your opinion. Should we do a reaction of it?
it's
'Cause
supposedly
I've never
some
seen
kind
it.
of
You've never seen it.
feminist manifesto kind of thing, and I'm like, no, it's a party record.
Yeah.
Those have been around since the beginning of hip hop. Those are party records.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember Two Live Crew? Nasty as they want to be.
Oh,
Well,
man.
did
Sure.
it-
Just,
Stop.
dude, that got
love-
parental advisory stickers put on.
That's what started
stuff.
it.
I
That's what
mean,
started fucking censorship and whatnot.
This
That was
is
a big
filthier.
catalyst. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Okay, so quick.
All right.
leave a comment if you want us to
Yeah,
do a
let us
reaction
know.
video to it.
And up
I've
till
never
then,
seen
none
it.
of us will watch it.
Yeah, and
None
if
of
you
us
want to
will
see
watch
us
it.
watch it, we'll
Until
watch
then,
it
yeah,
and
let us
do
know.
a reaction video, I guess.
I'm just curious.
I've never seen it. Sounds
I
pretty
haven't either, but
I
ludicrous.
don't know what
I'm
made me
interested.
think of that just
You need
now.
to put your face in that microphone more, or spend a little more.
I
on it.
don't know what made me think
Well,
of that
let's stay
just
back.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, you were
Let's
about
stay
to
back
say
on
something
track.
filthy.
As long as it's not
Oh,
a
anal
cup.
beads. That was it.
Who
Before
said that?
cameras ran out, we were talking
Yeah.
about something that really has nothing to do with anything. I think we've beaten that one pretty well to death, unless you
think
guys
we
have anything to add.
Yeah. I don't think
don't
so.
add up,
I think
subtract,
we
divide.
did.
Quick overview.
If,
guess-
if we missed something, let us know.
Yeah,
Oh,
tell
I
us about
guess
it.
one thing we could cover real briefly is what negative thing have you done that you regret as far as like a tattoo on somebody?
I mean, I can think one right quick off the top of the head. And, nobody really likes, no tattoo artist really likes doing any kind of racial tattoos.
Yeah.
This guy came in, he wanted, man, I don't remember how he started off, how he wanted. He kept bugging me for something. I kept saying, nope, I'm not going to do that. And it got down to the point where he said he'd rather have WP tattooed inside of his lips on the inside. If you can put that together there.
But-
So he's just a dumb kid
Yeah.
who doesn't.
Yeah.
Who's not even really a racist or anything like that. I guess it's like a dare or something like that with
At least
friends.
it's-
Some stupid 19-year-old.
At least it's
dumb.
not on his forehead.
Isn't it sad
with you
that
for life.
if you're white, you can't be proud of it?
Well, but yeah.
If you're
he's
anything
just-
else, you can be
It
proud.
did start
It's
that
because
way.
the racists ruin everything.
Definitely
Well,
didn't start
yeah.
that
Kind
way
of.
too.
I'm sure racist. They do. Well, if you're racist, you've ruined it. Yeah, but
Thanks a
so
lot.
finally, he's been bantering me. And I was like, fine, I'll do that. I'll pay you the money, and I'll fucking do it. Just go away.
Yeah.
And not like 2-3 days later, he works a construction job, lost his job.
Well, of course.
Not because anybody really saw or he had offended anybody, but because he talked about it, and that's enough. And
Yeah,
he's
dude.
like, I lost my job. I'm like, well, you're the idiot. I told you.
Yeah, man, it's
You know?
unacceptable. It's
I'm
just
glad
shit
we
you
stopped
don't
right
do.
there. So.
yeah, you have to remember that too. That you know, if you do something that says, if you tattoo blue is terrible on someone, but you don't care, you
You're-
like blue, but it's your
Yeah.
job, that's what they
Yeah, well,
wanted.
it represents you.
And someone sees it and goes, I freaking love blue. Who did that on you? And they say, Jack did it. And like, well, screw him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
F Jack. Jack
hey,
don't like
just-
blue.
I tattoo things on people. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
not, so you have to kind of draw that line because there was a time early in my
It's
career where
ethics.
I looked at it that way. I was like, well, you know, it's not. Who am I to judge what you
Yeah.
get?
Right.
You know, it's not. I'm not
Yeah.
here to go.
I'm not here to pass
You
judgment."
can have this,
Yeah.
and you
Yep.
can have that.
Yeah,
and
how dare
you-
I say who can get what?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
okay, you know, if that's what you want, okay, I'll.
Yeah.
I'll
But I don't
tattoo
want to
it.
be attached to racist
Yeah.
or
Right. So
or,
the
shit,
more I
stuff
got,
like that.
you
I
know,
don't want to be involved.
yeah, the longer I got it, the longer I was in the job, I started realizing, well, your name is on
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, and I started thinking about it from the other direction. I'm like, well, yeah, if I saw somebody walking down the street with a big old Swazi on him, and I'm like, wow, man, he's like, yeah, Jack over at Skin Kitchen did that, and I'd be like, okay, well, that guy's obviously a freaking racist,
So-
Yeah,
right?
he must be
Well,
okay with it.
But he might, but he's not, or probably isn't.
Right,
You
but
know,
you're
it's just
affiliated or
he's just
associated with it.
tattooing, and
Yeah.
him not doing it. Would that be giving it more power, or he's
Yep.
just going to be like it doesn't? It's some stupid
Well, I think
thing to me. I don't know.
Dave's question
weird.
kind of more pertains instead of, our reputation is attached for
Right,
sure.
Yeah.
right.
But not how much negativity our reputation is affected by what
Well,
we've done.
I'm sorry,
But how
if
much negativity we've affected their life by what we did.
Sure.
Like,
oh, sure,
like
sure.
the bartender, if she hadn't been able to get more jobs ever
Right,
and turned
right.
into something.
And I
we'd
think-
love
No,
to do.
yeah, I understand that.
So-
Sure, sure.
And I think there's probably cases where you guys have done something that you thought was perfectly
Yeah.
harmless and didn't understand the meaning behind
Yep.
it.
And later on,
Oh,
you're
when
like,
I was
man,
young.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
gang
when I was young, I did
affiliated
some
or
stuff I
something
would
like
not
that.
do now.
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think when you're starting off too, you're just happy to be tattooing somebody.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
and under the
something.
circumstances, like I apprenticed under a motorcycle club,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I was
That was-
tattooing club tattoos before
Yeah.
I knew what club tattoos meant or were.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? Which
Yeah.
is fine and nothing against it. But like as a professional now that doesn't take sides or stand on any kind of corner,
Yeah. Even
I stay pretty neutral.
Only unless we're forced, and in
Well,
this
yeah.
situation, you know, it's better just to avoid it and not
Right.
have
Yeah.
to,
right?
Yeah.
you know, mess
Like-
with any of that, than to basically pick a side.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
guess.
I can think of tattooing some of the club members that like with tattoos that were their preference and whatever their stuff.
Yeah.
I would never tattoo on a client.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Yeah, I guess
In a
that's
million
a
years.
little different of
Never.
a situation, but yeah, I did some things earlier on, like I said, because I was in the mode like it's their tattoo. I am in no. Who am I to judge?
Well, your boss
or
is telling you
tell
to
them-
do the tattoo or lose your
Do
job.
you have any instances that it has come back to you negatively, that you did see that person again, you didn't like that tattoo, or that you weren't
can't
happy
say
with
that.
it?
You know what?
I can't say that.
I can't believe this didn't pop into my brain immediately talking about this. But say Tone.
I was going to say Tone.
Yeah, Tone. He is a local anti-celebrity, I'll call him.
He's a Z celebrity.
Okay.
Z-list.
Yeah.
He was a friend of Sean. Sean tried to help him out. Sean tried to get him a career. He was in Down the Sun.
Right.
Which just never took off.
So anyway, he got signed, and to say Tone, that's like a freaking movie,
I've made
man.
it, which is the
Yeah.
misconception most bands
which you
make.
should,
Right.
yeah, which in a
That's what
way
you
you
aspire
kind
to
of
do.
did. You did make that step, but you're far from made
Making
it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. So anyway, he came into the shop. He's like, I want to get this tattoo on my face. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? And he's like, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. My band just got signed, and I want to. And I'm like, no, I don't know, man.
Yeah, don't jump out of the boat yet.
And he's like, yeah, man, Clown said he's going to pay for it, and da-da-da-da. And I was like,
In film it.
right. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, Clown ends up showing up, and he's gonna pay for it. He's got his camera all there and everything else. And I ended up tattooing this very, we'll say Tyson-esque now, tribal type thing around his cheek.
Long before Tyson, maybe.
Long before Tyson.
Maybe we should sue the artist that did that.
Right. Well, and I heard that there's an interview. I talked to Satone later, which is kind of the long point of the story. I talked to Satone later about it, and his band didn't make it, and yada yada. But he loves the tattoo. Again, it made him kind of who he is.
Yeah.
And for me, again, it was like, well, you've got Sean Cran sitting there, and you've got this guy that just got signed to a label, and me, I'm like, man, normally this is
bad
not
idea,
something I
but-
would do.
Yeah.
But in that situation
You
with
do
those
it.
planets and those positions,
Yeah, you do it.
okay. And it got me in a book, so
Right.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
But anyway, he didn't, really write everything. But I guess I was talking to Satone, and this was after Tyson got his tribal thing, and I talked, and right when I started talking to him, I was basically like, "Fuck, dude, Tyson just fucked you, man."
Yeah.
Because now anybody who sees you
is
is
gonna
going to
think you
think you're on the
copied him.
Tyson
You
train.
copy Tyson.
And he goes, dude, I know. And he goes, you know what's effed up about that? And he goes, I saw an interview or something with him, and they were talking to him about, his tattoo soon after he got it. And he goes, and Tyson said he saw this guy jumping around on stage in some video on MTV or something,
It was Satan.
and he was acting like, some just crazy
Yeah,
guy,
it
and he
was
had this
him.
tattoo around his eye. And he said,
He bit
it
it.
was cool. And Tyson got that tattoo because of Satone. Now,
Right.
I have not seen it. It's all hearsay. I have no idea.
right.
If
Yeah.
you
That's
know
just-
where that video is, if you find it,
The
post
interview.
it. I'd
The
love to
interview.
see
That's
it.
hilarious, though.
But isn't that funny? Because anybody who looks at him anywhere is going to think, oh, nice Tyson tattoo.
Yeah,
So
what a
in that
douchebag.
regard, I'm sure he has kind of that regret.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
He's
knows.
got the satisfaction knowing he started it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever
And they-
that's worth. And that's
Yeah,
worth
whatever.
more or less to some people. But
And they had a
yeah.
pretty good run. They went out on tour with, I want to say, Mudvayne, and they did some stuff. So, it
And
did
they were
what
a
it
good band. They
did.
were
It
fun.
was-
It was just there was management changes, I think, at the label
Oh,
or something. It was
well,
a
they
big
turned
into
mess.
Hell
and
Yeah with,
they just started chopping
Vinny.
bands or something. I don't
and
know.
thus continues this conspiracy
Hell
of
Yeah.
Slipknot, where they just take all the talented people and make sure they fail. And the reality is they have no power to make anybody,
If
and that's what really happened.
If anybody can get it's 9, right? Yeah. If anybody can get 9 guys, 9 musicians, and put them in a room and have them produce the amount of music and score the points that music has scored
Good luck.
for the amount of time that they've done it,
Good luck.
I'll kiss your ass.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'll
and
help
on,
you.
And on top of that,
That's-
we always
I'll
used
prep
to-
the cheeks.
we used to always joke about they're on Slipknot time, but Slipknot time is more about trying to herd cats.
Absolutely.
It's
Okay,
because
you have-
there's 9 of them, and
Yeah,
one
man, you
leaves
got
to
a
go look
bunch
for
of
the
people.
one that's missing, and
Yeah.
then that one comes back, and then there's
I'm
2
sure
of
there's
them going.
hundreds of people that have been out there in bands that were 4 or maybe 5 members, and you know what a freaking psycho thing that is.
Yeah.
Man, you double that almost.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
almost
couldn't-
impossible.
I couldn't do it.
And then to produce what they've produced and put out what
It's
they've put
unreal.
out and to watch their shows and all the man, God
Yeah.
bless them.
Congratulations
They're
to them.
Yeah.
Here's the Slipknot.
awesome. To Slipknot.
To the Lipknot,
To the Slipknot.
Indeed.
Paul's side project.
Good old Paul. All right,
R.I.P.
well,
Paul.
have we beaten it again?
I believe we have.
All right.
It occurred to me that we hadn't really addressed that, and I thought it'd be a good option.
I think that's good.
As far as piercing, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, there's been some people that came in, like young girls, where they want to get like 4 or 5 facial piercings. And I'm like, honey, your facial structure is perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
And they're wanting risky piercings, and I had one girl that I'm glad I talked her out of getting her eyebrow pierced because she just didn't have the brow for it. It would have rejected, and she'd have that line scar for the rest of her life.
And that where it comes down to the relationship thing, I mean, we do give an F about you. I mean, we
Yeah,
want
do
to
we care?
Yeah, because when you walk out the door and you're presenting yourself to the world, the questions are going to come up. If it looks incredible, people are going to ask you. If it looks like a train wreck, people are going to ask you.
Well,
and I don't want my name attached to the.
If you ask me for a really pretty piece of art, but you want it in an awkward position or an awkward spot where it makes it not so complimenting,
yeah,
I'm a little less enthusiastic to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Not because I'm
right.
being an asshole,
That's
Yeah,
because,
just
but
because
because I want you to go out and know, because I know you don't know what we know.
yeah.
You don't understand
your
or look at
expert.
it how we look at
and
it.
thank God people are coming around to start trusting
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
I hear it so much
We're
more.
only trying to suggest stuff to you for your benefit.
Not
I'm
to-
not
Yeah.
trying to suggest something to you because it's cheaper or less work for me. Or
Right.
sometimes I'll suggest stuff that's way more work for me and way more complicated, but it would look better on you in the long run if it was done that way in this place.
And if I didn't suggest it, I would feel like I'm not doing my job and offering,
Well,
or offering you.
I
the
didn't live
best
up to
or
what
whatever.
my service was to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And the truth is that we all get jazzed when we do that great piece.
Oh,
or
yeah.
I do that
Yeah,
great
dude, we're
piercing and it
as
looks great.
stoked as you are to walk
It's just
out
the
with
way
it.
it is.
Oh yeah.
And it's
sometimes
show and
more
tell
so.
at the end of the day, and
But yeah, we're hanging out back on the steps showing pictures of, look what I did today. Oh, this was so awesome.
like that sleeve that Wes just completed. That thing's incredible.
It's amazing. It looked
Yeah.
terrific.
Yeah. Anyway, I think.
Anyway,
we're
we
done
could
blowing
talk
each
about
other.
tattoos. So you have been watching or listening to Q&A in the Kitchen. If you enjoyed this, please share on your favorite social media platform. Also, like the video if you're on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified every single time we post something. If you're listening to this, just subscribe where you're at. Of course, share it if you can. If you'd like to get some of our merch, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. It's always in the description. Lots of t-shirts, lots of hoodies, and that hoodie weather is
We're
coming
wearing
up.
a t-shirt now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, hoodie weather is coming up, and just buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it helps us buy a bunch of stuff.
That's pretty much what we do.
That's
we turn
all we
around
do.
and buy
We
more
were
merch.
hoping to get some new lights today, and of course they came early, thinking we weren't going to be open, just
Yeah.
to stick the thing on, so we don't have the cool lights. Next time we're going to have.
I want a
lights.
fun tablecloth.
Ooh, tablecloth. Yeah, buy a T-shirt, and maybe next time we'll
We'll
have a tablecloth.
tablecloth.
So yeah,
What color, though? That'll be the problem.
green
Whatever.
screen. Then you
Figure
can
it
have water. You can have
Cool.
water
Figure
or
it out, David.
pictures.
I do not want to know what that's going to
Do it.
Just
Just
look
do
like
it,
the 12 o'clock
Davo.
news, and they could have like Des Moines behind
More
us.
green. We should have had that green screen the whole time.
be awesome.
I like the tapestry.
I
think
do
it looks
too.
I do
good.
too. It is
Anyway,
Well, thank you for watching. Here's hoping all your tattoos and piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, or at least nearby, we hope to see you for your tattooing and body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care of one another and pick up after yourself.
and be nice.
Yeah, be nice to each other.
See you next time.
Later, guys.